Well, we will look at Galatians. This is from the New Jerusalem Bible. Before faith came, we were kept under guard by the law, locked up to wait for the faith which would eventually be revealed to us. So the law was serving as a slave to look after us, to lead us to Christ, so that we could be justified by faith. But now that faith has come, we are no longer under a slave looking after us. For all of you are the children of God through faith in Christ Jesus, since every one of you that has been baptized has been clothed in Christ. There can be neither Jew nor Greek, there can be neither slave nor freeman, there can be neither male nor female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus. And simply by being Christ's, you are that progeny of Abraham, the heirs named in the promise. Okay? They don't have the footnotes online, but they do. Sometimes it's actually good to have a book. Can you imagine that? The footnote about the slave. And remember, Paul says, and I'll just show you again real quick so it sticks in your mind. So the law was serving as a slave to look after us, to lead us to Christ, so that we could be justified by faith. Now, for those of you who didn't take last semester, we spent a long time talking about the law. He means the law of Moses, but he also means, by extension, the idea that you do external things and thereby you acquire your reward or merit. Now, I can talk as an actor, and I can say that sometimes you have to talk the way the character should talk, or imitate the character's accent, or do something external until you get the hang of it. You don't want, as an actor in a part on stage, simply to be imitating from the externals the way a character should behave. You want it to be organic somehow. You want it to be expressed as part of you. In fact, this is how we all act in real life. Our works are an expression of who we are. They're not simply things we do from the outside, though sometimes they have to be, because sometimes you don't feel like it. You don't feel it coming from the inside, but that we recognize is a lower stage than the organic acting, the acting from who we are. Anyway, what's he talking about? The slave, the law was a slave leading us to Christ. What does that mean? The law of Moses, or the whole dispensation. You know, I hate it when the camera does that. And I fixed it so it wouldn't, but then I turned the computer off, and turning the computer back on, it reset itself. Yeah, by the way, that's just the way technology works. The educated slave, so goes the footnote, whose duty was to escort the child to his tutors and supplement the teaching as they went. The slave would lead you to your tutors and then fill in the gaps, rehearse your lessons with you, perhaps, as he led you to your main teachers. His real work is finished, the slave's, when he has conducted the children to their teacher. This was the function, preparatory and strictly temporary, of the law, brought to completion by faith in Christ and by grace. It is that in-between place where we're still being led. My students are teenagers. You're probably bursting at the seams to get away from your parents. Your parents have given you a certain amount of external laws and forms and things to follow, rules to adhere to. The reason they've given you rules is because when you're just a kid, you don't have the wisdom to live on your own without them. But then as you leave the house, if they've given you a certain number of rules, hopefully you can internalize them. You can see the wisdom of the rules your parents have given you, and rather than there being an external thing like the Mosaic law for the Jews, something that you merely parrot or imitate, you internalize them. And you say, well, the reason I should brush my teeth is so that my teeth stay healthy. Well, the reason I should not sleep around is so that I don't make myself and others miserable. Well, I see the value of the rules. The rules that my parents raised me by were a slave leading me to my true teacher, which is wisdom, which is God, which is Jesus Christ. And of course, he goes on and he talks about how We're neither male nor female. We're neither Jew nor Greek. We're neither slave nor free. In Christ, we are made anew and we are all equal. This is, perhaps you might say, the foundation, the foundational philosophical premise behind, for instance, the United States of America, even though we're not officially a Christian country. But we understand that we are all equal in dignity, made in the image and likeness of God, is the way the Bible puts it. And here, Paul reemphasizes that when he says, we are new creations, no longer children being led around and escorted by a slave. We have internalized this. We are becoming mature in Christ. Righteousness comes from inside to the outside. As Christ said, it is what comes out of a man's mouth, not what goes into it, because what comes out of your mouth indicates what's in your heart. It's what's in your heart that our faith is all about.